Hey, I'm live. It's me again, Gordon. I got one person watching. Woohoo. Great news. I heard it earlier, but the full ramifications of it didn't hit home until just now. And the good news is that Joe Biden has just declared that the COVID pandemic is over. Hallelujah. And especially because it's coming from Joe Biden. If it was coming from Donald Trump, if it was coming from Pierre Poilievre here in Canada, a large significant portion of the population would completely discount it. But I'm going to play you the audio clip. So, without further ado, this is Joe Biden walking around the Detroit Auto Show with a correspondent from CBS's 60 Minutes. I don't know the name of the correspondent. I haven't watched 60 Minutes in ages, since the days of Morley Safer, Harry Reasoner, Dan Rather, and Ed Bradley would be the last one I remember. Anyway, here it is. This is Joe Biden with being interviewed on 60 Minutes. And if you're ready, here's the audio.
Mr. President, first Detroit Auto Show in 3 years.
Yeah.
Is the pandemic over?
The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it. But the pandemic is over. If you notice, no one's wearing masks. Everybody seems to be in pretty good shape. And so I think it's changing, and I think this is a perfect example of it.
So there you have it, straight from the horse's mouth. Joe Biden, President of the United States, has declared the pandemic is over. He said it once, then he said, we still have some problems with COVID. Well, there are always problems. Cancer is a problem, influenza is a problem, RSVs are a problem. There are lots of viruses, lots of problems out there that they're always dealing with. But the pandemic is over, and no one's wearing masks and everything. And what I'm going to suggest is that tomorrow, or today, because it's Monday now, this aired just Sunday night. So I'm a few hours late, but it's current. Tomorrow, or today, Monday, and going forward for the rest of the week, when you're walking around, and if you know people and you see them still wearing a mask, you can possibly, this is something you can maybe toss out to them, and you can say, didn't you hear Joe Biden on 60 Minutes yesterday or Sunday declared that the COVID pandemic is over, that, no one's wearing masks, and, everyone's feeling great. And I can anticipate what some will say in response. They won't like it. They won't like the people become addicted to fear. It becomes their security blanket. And so they're going to discount Joe Biden's proclamation. They're going to say, well, he's not a doctor. And I've got Sir Chauffeur. One of the best things he ever said. The White House, I bet, already made a clarification that it's not the case. It's out there. And so when someone says, well, he's not a doctor, this and that, whatever, I would throw back at them, oh, okay, so I guess you're a Trump supporter. Because the one thing that seems to trump science and medicine and fear and everything is politics. Political identification seems so important to people nowadays. And I'll give you an example of it. In May of 2020, when COVID was still, pretty much brand new, March, April, May, when everyone was still under stay-at-home orders, you have to stay at home, stay safe, don't go outside. Kid in Ottawa shooting hoops, playing some basketball outdoors by himself, gets a ticket for hundreds of dollars. This is how serious it all was. And then something happened. Then the George Floyd incident, I think it was Minneapolis. I might have that wrong, but the George Floyd incident happened, and the BLM demonstrations blew up. And all of a sudden, it was okay to go outside. You were allowed. Justin Trudeau, Doug Ford in Ontario, everyone started going outside to protest, join the BLM movement. Science kind of went out of the window when the pandemic started. So much nonsense pushed. Panic porn. We've been living under 2 years of panic porn, and now we've had something of a champion of the left, of the liberal left, has proclaimed that the pandemic is over. And so those of us who, I don't think there ever was, COVID never warranted this. So now we can grab onto this and, point it out to everyone. And you see someone in a mask, if you know them, or if you're an extrovert like me who engages in lots of conversations with random strangers, I'm going to be bringing it up. Didn't you hear Joe Biden, 60 Minutes, said the pandemic is over. Everyone's walking around without masks. Why are you still wearing it? And then, as I anticipate, they're probably going to say something to the effect of, well, it's not over, no matter what Joe Biden says. And then play the political card and say, oh, okay, so you're a Trump type supporter. Well, no, I'm not a Trump supporter. Well, then why the pandemic's over. It was always it's always been political from the very beginning. The mask nonsense started. If you watched Anthony Fauci, Dr. Theresa Tam in Ontario, Canada, our former chief medical officer of health was a Dr. David Williams. All three of those individuals gave public pronouncements early in the pandemic before mask mandates. They were being asked, why are you not mandating masks? Why are you not requiring people to wear masks? And all three of them said variations of the same thing, that there's no evidence to prove that masking has any benefit in mitigating viral spread. And they all said that improper use and improper handling of masks could actually make things worse. It's out there on public record, all three of them. And there's probably more who said the same thing. But people with their Facebook degrees in epidemiology knew better. And they, think pulling a dirty disease rag out of their germ-filled pocket, stuffing it on their face, and then wearing it like a chin strap half the time and pulling it up and touching the outside material, they thought they were being safe. And, with their designer cloth gross masks, which I honestly cannot stand. Getting back to my Christian faith, we are created in the image of God. Do not cover up half your face. Pathogens, viruses, germs, bacteria, these things have been around since the dawn of time. And there was never any need for them. And there's still they've done one study. They've done one study in Bangladesh, severely criticized in the peer review process, that suggested a minor benefit, perhaps. But the peer review process revealed so many flaws in the methodology of the study that you can almost throw it in the garbage. But the mask lovers said, there, we finally got our proof. Bangladesh. Forget all the other studies that all showed none, zero. We got the one we wanted. Before that, they point to a study done by Duke University in a sterile lab environment. That's not real world, that is low-end science. Sterile lab versus randomized control trials, which are the gold standard, multiple randomized control trials that all showed no proven benefit, and they ignored them. And it's because they were afraid. And I finally thought of a better analogy. I get it. When people are afraid, doing something seems more logical than doing nothing. I'm afraid of COVID. I got to do something. I'm going to put a mask on. Well, think about it in terms of being in quicksand. Intuitive, natural human instinct is to struggle and do something. Well, that's the worst thing you can do. Struggling in quicksand makes things worse. You go down faster. Putting on a mask is like struggling in quicksand. You're better to be calm, and not lose your head. The only thing to fear is fear itself. So great news. Joe Biden, I've shared the link down below if you want the audio and the video feed. It's from 60 Minutes. And I'm going to play it again because the second time he says it is even better than the first, because he's reiterating it. It's over. The pandemic is over. Here.
Mr. President, first Detroit auto show in 3 years.
Yeah.
Is the pandemic over?
The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it. But the pandemic is over. If you notice, no one's wearing masks. Everybody seems to be in pretty good shape. And so I think it's changing. And I think this is a perfect example of it.
So spread the word. Tell people to watch 60 Minutes. The clip is widely available. And if they don't want to listen to Joe Biden, well, then I guess you must be a Trump supporter. Oh, I love irony because, to be honest, I have issues with Trump. Who do you vote for? 335 million people, and Joe Biden and Donald Trump are the two best they could come up with. Sir Chauffeur is saying now our generation is going to suffer from a lot of mental disorders. Our little kids having IQ issues and learning problems because they can't see people smile or speak. Kids learn through imitating. You're right. But at the same time, I will say this. Kids are resilient. But I'm not diminishing your point, because it's true. There's been a lot too much damage done to our kids. I feel my age notwithstanding, I have a young guy less than 10, my youngest. And I feel like he's come through this with flying colors. One, because I would not mask him, except in very rare cases. I'm not my bravado on a video notwithstanding, I'm not a confrontational guy. I do not enjoy conflict. And in situations where a mask was absolutely required, fine, put one on, but it's garbage. It's not going to do anything. You have an immune system. You'll be okay. And so he does not like masks. And I guess I'm trying to remember. Yeah, September of 2020. So after we gone through March and all the way up till the following September, he went to school. He's in the public school system. Please don't give me any grief over that. I have my issues with the Canadian public school system, the Ontario public school system, but life is challenging. But at any rate, at that point, dating masks, and I was able to have him go unmasked. He was the only kid in his class not wearing a mask, and he's in grade school, elementary school. And as old as I am, I still remember what it's like to be in grade 2, 3, 4. And you don't want to be the only one in any respect. You don't want to, it's part of human nature to want to be liked and to be part of. And I get that. And so later, I found out about these, and I showed it in the previous video, mingle masks. And so I bought one for him, and he was actually happy because now he was something somewhat like everyone else in the class. And as it turned out, one other kid in the class was wearing one of these, where it's just attaches to your face like a mask. See how well I'm practiced at it there. Has a little chin rest so it sits off your face. You don't have the plastic right up against your mouth or nose with the chin rest, and it met the requirements. I'm going to read what surchauffeur. What does that mean? Surchauffeur, on top of a driver. Sur is French for on top, chauffeur, driver, or heater. Now our generation is going to suffer from, okay, I read that already. Then he wrote, or she wrote, it's a study I read. Yeah, they are resilient, but it's no good for our kids. Agreed. It felt weird when I could stop masking on the bus or in a store, like a little shock. But after a day or so, it was gone. But for a lot of people who live in fear, it's almost impossible. OK, ça, chauffeur. Je suis pas français, là. J'ai habité dans la ville de Québec. Entre 2011 et 2015, j'étais muté à Valcartier. Donc, je suis plus ou moins bilingue. But French is my second language, and I hesitate, especially if I have to talk too long. Anyway, thank you for chiming in, so chauffeur, because engagement, it animates me. So, anyway, share Biden out. Si vous êtes êtes-vous québécois? Ou franco-ontarien, ou français de la France, ou d'ailleurs. Je vais attendre pour une réponse, si ça vient ou non. I like speaking French. Québec, Montréal. OK, cool. Donc, vous êtes sûrement français parce que Montréal, c'est différent. Je préfère Québec. Quebec, c'est incroyable. In Montreal, you can get by without speaking a word of French. I went into a dépanneur in downtown, wanted to buy some stamps. Espanol, Français, Anglais, Spanish, French, and English. Wow, you beat me. I know a little bit of German. Guten Tag, wie geht's? Anyway, I'm ending my video. That's long enough. Thank you for watching. And I do these from time to time. If you want to subscribe, feel free. And we'll see you again. Tomorrow's going to be fun. I've got there's a guy I know a neighbor, and I like the gentleman. He's this extremely nice gentleman, and he has 2 daughters. And they're still masking. One of them is in my son's class, and she's one of only 2 students still wearing a mask. And I saw this gentleman just within the last 2-3 days, and we had a short conversation, and he was still behind his mask. And I know he's what I will call a liberal-minded individual, and I don't have an issue with that. I used to identify as a liberal myself, and I still consider myself a classic liberal, a real liberal, not these phony Antifa type extremist liberals. Anyway, God bless. I love to ramble. Share out that video. Don't share me out. So, salut mon ami et merci. Ouais, c'est le même que moi. All right. We'll talk to you later.